Take a deep breath in and slowly let it go. Welcome to this guided meditation, filmed in the high alpine wilderness of Yosemite. This is your time to step back from the noise, from the pressure, and from the expectations, and reconnect with what truly matters to you. Maybe you've been holding tightly to a goal, a plan you told yourself had to happen. Maybe you've been pushing past your limits, trying to keep up, trying not to fall behind. But today, this is an invitation to discover something quieter, deeper, and wiser. The peace that comes when you choose to change course, not out of failure, but out of clarity. On a recent backpacking trip through Yosemite, I found myself facing that same moment. My original plan included summiting Clouds Rest day one, and then Half Dome the next morning. Both I had trained and prepared for. But after a long day of climbing with a heavy 35-pound pack, after seeing the gorgeous 360 views from Clouds Rest, and arriving at camp later than expected, my body spoke clearly. What I truly needed was rest, not another summit, not a 3 a.m. alarm. I'd only had 3 hours of sleep the night before, and what I truly needed was 8 full hours of recovery. Not just to feel better, but to safely and joyfully hike back out the next day. Letting go of that goal wasn't easy, but it was right. And it reminded me, you don't need to reach every summit to find what you came for. Picture yourself on a trail, the kind that winds steadily upward through granite and pines. You've trained for this. You've mapped it out. You're prepared. But as the trail unfolds, the weight you're carrying starts to feel heavier. Your legs ache. Your breath shortens. And even though the summit still calls to you, something in you whispers, this might not be the climb today. That moment, the one where you pause, assess, and eventually choose a different path, that's not weakness. That's not giving up. It's wisdom. It's strength. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to listen to yourself, to adjust the plan, to honor your limits without shame, and to trust that peace doesn't live only at the top. It can meet you right where you are. We live in a culture that idolizes the finish line, the summit, the hustle, the follow-through. And while there's value in perseverance, it can sometimes lead us away from ourselves, away from our body's signals, our emotional bandwidth, our deeper knowing. You might be someone who sets high standards, who follows through, who doesn't quit, and that part of you may rise up with resistance when you consider stopping early, changing the route, taking a gentler path. But what if this wasn't about quitting? What if it was about course correcting? What if pivoting was an act of wisdom, one rooted in self-trust, discernment, and self-respect? In the wilderness, trails shift all the time. A downed tree reroutes the path, a stream floods over. A wildfire closes a section of the forest. You don't need to keep walking blindly. You adapt. You take another way, not because you failed to finish, but because conditions changed, and you had the courage to respond honestly. The same is true in your life. There may be moments when you have to let go of the trail you planned and step onto the one that calls you inward. Not everyone will understand that, but your body will, your heart will, and in time, so will your peace. Right now, place one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. Let yourself settle fully, honestly, without needing to perform for anyone. This moment is yours. Take a breath in. Feel the rise of your belly and exhale slowly. Feel the hand on your heart settle downward. Now ask yourself gently, where have I been pushing when I could be pausing? Is there a path I've outgrown or a plan that no longer fits? What might I gain if I let it go, or even just let it soften? Let the answers come without forcing. They may arrive as sensations, memories, or simply quiet knowing. Trust that. There is time for striving, for rising early, climbing high, stretching your capacity. But there's also time for resting, for setting down the pack, for sleeping under the stars instead of chasing one more milestone. You may discover that what you thought you needed, the summit, the finish line, the applause, was never quite as fulfilling as the way you treated yourself on the way there. When you choose rest instead of overextension, when you choose presence over pressure, you rewrite what success looks like. You don't just reach peace, you become it. Changing course isn't something we're often praised for. It's rarely broadcast or celebrated. But what if it were? What if honoring your needs became the new strength? If you're in a season where you feel the urge to shift, to stop pushing, to realign, to move slower, or not at all, know this: you're not behind. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're becoming more you, more in tune, more alive in the present moment. Let's return to the trail. Imagine you're standing on a high granite ridge. To your left, the original path you had planned, steep, sun-exposed, crowded. To your right, a quieter route, gentler, shaded, still leading somewhere beautiful. You feel the pull in both directions, but today you turn toward rest. Not because you couldn't do the harder path, but because you know what your body and mind need most right now. You walk slowly, you breathe more deeply. And in the space where pressure once lived, peace begins to rise. This is still a summit. It just looks different than you expected, and it's no less worthy. Let go of the idea that doing less makes you less. Let go of the narrative that you must push through at all costs to be strong or worthy. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to need rest. You are allowed to set something down, not forever, but for now. And in doing so, you become someone who's responsive, someone who is resilient in a deeper way. You become someone who leads themselves with care, not cruelty. So if today, or someday soon, you find yourself on a trail, literal or emotional, and the plan you made no longer feels right, may you have the courage to pause. May you have the strength to change course. And may you trust that your worth is never measured by distance traveled, but by how gently you walk with yourself along the way. Take a breath in. exhale. You are not lost. You are not failing. You are finding a new way forward, one step, one breath, one choice at a time. If you want deeper support and learning to pivot with grace and care, I offer psychotherapy for California residents. You can find more details in the description. Remember, I am allowed to change my path. I'm not behind, I'm realigning. I find peace not just at the summit, but in how I treat myself along the way. Take good care.